Nothing like a bullshit propaganda story to get the day started. So here we go. This is in the Hill, originally in the AP. This is about an attack that Iran was going to have against the United States. They say Iran reportedly threatened to attack Fort McNair in Washington, D.C., as well as the Army's Vice Chief of Staff, according to a report from the Associated Press published on Sunday. Citing two unidentified senior U.S. officials, the AP reports that communications intercepted by the National Security Agency show that Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps discussed carrying out a USS Cole-style attack on Fort McNair in January, referencing the 2000 suicide attack against the U.S. Navy-guided missile destroyer in Yemen's Aden harbor that left 17 sailors dead. The IRGC communications also revealed threats to kill General Joseph M. Martin, the AP reported, who lives at Fort McNair. According to the AP, the threats are behind the Army's recent push for heightened security around Fort McNair, which would include adding a buffer zone of 250 to 500 feet from the Washington Channel. Leaders in the nation's capital have spoken out against the proposed changes, the news service notes, as they would reduce the access to the waterway, which runs parallel to the Potomac River. The Pentagon and the NSA declined to comment when reached by the Hill. Okay, so when you get into the specifics, you find out that they wanted to expand this base for a really long time. They wanted to do the changes that they're now proposing for a while. And local officials are like, this is mighty convenient. You've come up with a justification and a rationalization that seems to be above reproach, where if we disagree with you, we look like we're unpatriotic. Strange. Now, they reference, the USS Cole attack, and they say this happened in a harbor in Yemen. That is categorically different than something happening in the United States of America. If you truly believe that Iran would launch an attack against the U.S. Capitol, I have a bridge to sell you. Because they have a military budget that's about 37 cents in a Pop-Tart. That's how big their military budget is. And our military budget is bigger than the next 10 or 12 biggest nations combined. And most of them, by the way, are our allies. They simply don't have the capability to pull this off. And they also aren't dumb enough to try this, to actually do this, because they know the consequences. They know that the U.S. is just looking for an excuse, and Israel is just looking for an excuse for all-out war. And the neocons are in control and have been in control for a long time now. So, I mean, it's kind of amazing how extreme the propaganda is, you know? And what comes to mind is Saddam Hussein with weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. That's what comes to mind. It was actually, I believe it was on the anniversary of that this story came out. Just had coincidence happened to be the case. But, I mean, that's how you need to approach all these situations. Assume the intelligence community is lying for their own nefarious purposes until proven otherwise. And the burden is on them. They need to present evidence. They need to be the ones to show, hey, here's how we know that this is the case. Here's the proof. They're not presenting any proof. And usually what they do is they act like, this stuff is top secret and classified, but take our word for it. Or it's an unidentified source. Why would I take your word for it? Why would I take your word for it? You guys were wrong about Iraq. You guys were wrong about Syria. You guys lie all the time about North Korea and act like they're the offensive threat against us, even though they're one of the most colossally impoverished countries on the planet. The idea that they're going to launch an attack against us when they know that would spell doom for them, again, absurd. So really, I mean, the fact of the matter is we're the bully. We're the bully internationally. That's what we are. And you need to invent issues to then justify your continued bullying, your continued aggression, your continued offense, your continued imperialism. But really, in this case, there's that added factor, too, of the base has been wanting to make these changes and expand, and local officials have said, no, we're not going to do that. And so, here we are. They came up with a reason to be like, see, now you can't disagree. We have to expand the base. What are you going to do? What, you want to protect us from Iran or not? I guess you're on the side of Iran. I guess you're unpatriotic. I guess you hate America. I guess you're on the side of them in a potential war. Ridiculous. So anyway, this is beyond silly. I don't buy it for a second. And it's kind of scary to me that anybody is naive enough to look at this and think, yeah, that seems plausible.